Lesson 3. Questions and Answers. George Plum tells a friend about his family's need for a larger place to live.
Is it true that you're moving out of the apartment house, George?
No, not definitely. We've been thinking of moving, but we haven't found a place yet.
Don't you like living in an apartment?
Oh, yes, it's been very comfortable here, but it's getting a little small. With the baby, there are 4 of us now. We need to get something a little bigger.
Have you considered buying a house?
Yes, we intend doing that if we can. So far, we haven't found one we can afford, but we keep on looking.
Would you mind living on the other side of town?
And yes, I would. I'd prefer getting something near here if possible. I think this is a much better section of town.
By the way, do you remember meeting James Johnson the other night?
Yes, I do. He's the one who's going overseas soon.
Did you know that he's attempting to sell his house before he goes?
No, I didn't. He has a very nice place, too. We drove by there a few days ago.
He told me it was a real bargain. Why don't you give him a ring?
I think I will. It may be just the place we're looking for.
Practice drills and exercises. 1. Verbs followed by the gerund. Statement of fact.
1. I may buy a mountain cabin, Mr. Plum said. 2. I broke the window, Bill said.
3. I think you'd better call the plumber, Mrs. White said. 4. I didn't take the car, Sally said.
5. Buy property, Mr. Austin recommended.
6. It makes me mad to pay so much for parking my car every day, Mrs. Lorton said. 7. I'd like to live in a cooler climate, Helen said.
8. Let's buy a thermometer to put outside the kitchen window, Mr. Corrigan said.
Take the part of Speaker B. Answer the question according to the statement of fact. Listen to the model.
1. What is Mr. Plum considering?
He's considering buying a mountain cabin. Now do the exercise.
1. What is Mr. Plum considering?
He's considering buying a mountain cabin.
2. What did Bill admit doing?
He admitted breaking the window.
3. What did Mrs. White advise?
She advised calling the plumber.
4. What did Sally deny?
She denied taking the car.
5. What did Mr. Austin recommend?
He recommended buying property.
6. What does Mrs. Lorton resent?
She resents paying so much for parking her car every day.
7. What would Helen appreciate?
She'd appreciate living in a cooler climate.
8. What did Mr. Corrigan suggest doing?
He suggested buying a thermometer to put outside the kitchen window.
Two. It as replacement for a gerund phrase. Answer in the negative using at all. Listen to the model.
1. Have you ever considered getting another job?
No, I've never considered it at all. Now you do the exercise.
1. Have you ever considered getting another job?
No, I've never considered it at all.
2. Are you proud of writing this article in the newspaper?
No, I'm not proud of it at all.
3. Have you and Martha talked about getting a station wagon?
No, we haven't talked about it at all.
4. Were you and Tom arguing about paying the bill?
No, we weren't arguing about it at all.
5. Was Sally excited about taking her first plane trip?
No, she wasn't excited about it at all.
3. Gerund. Used after certain verb, adjective, plus preposition combinations. Use one of these verb or adjective combinations as appropriate to restate the statements that Mr. Forrest has made. Repeat, please.
Believe in.
Look forward to.
Worry about.
Depend on.
Good at.
Tired of.
Particular about.
Famous for. Listen to the model.
1. I think you should help people when you can.
He believes in helping people when you can. Now do the exercise.
1. I think you should help people when you can.
He believes in helping people when you can.
2. I wouldn't care to drive fast in that old car.
He worries about driving fast in that old car.
3. I play the piano quite well.
He's good at playing the piano.
4. I wish I didn't have to get up at 6 o'clock every morning.
He's tired of getting up at 6 o'clock every morning.
5. It will be enjoyable to visit my son and his wife who live in a new apartment.
He's looking forward to visiting his son and his wife who live in a new apartment.
6. I'm very careful to keep my car in good running condition.
He's particular about keeping his car in good running condition.
7. Many people have heard of me because of the historical novel I wrote.
He's famous for writing an historical novel.
8. I have to catch the 8 o'clock bus to get to work on time.
He depends on catching the 8 o'clock bus to get to work on time.
4. Gerund as subject. Change the sentences as in the models. Listen.
1. It's not difficult to memorize a part in a play.
Memorizing a part in a play is not difficult.
Memorizing a part in a play is not difficult.
Memorizing a part in a play is not difficult.
2. It's very difficult and time-consuming to prepare that Chinese dish.
Preparing that Chinese dish is very difficult and time-consuming.
Preparing that Chinese dish is very difficult and time-consuming.
Preparing that Chinese dish is very difficult and time-consuming.
Now do the exercise.
1. It's not difficult to memorize a part in a play.
Memorizing a part in a play is not difficult.
2. It's very difficult and time-consuming to prepare that Chinese dish.
Preparing that Chinese dish is very difficult and time-consuming.
3. It's useful to speak several languages.
Speaking several languages is useful.
4. It's very important to have good teachers.
Having good teachers is very important.
5. It's healthy to swim every day or to take some other form of exercise.
Swimming every day or taking some other form of exercise is healthy.
6. It's not easy to learn to write clearly and well.
Learning to write clearly and well is not easy.
4 conversations. 1.
I hear you're going to the beach again this summer.
Yes, are you going this year?
No, I hate swimming.
Oh, we'd counted on seeing you. But I must say I don't like swimming at the beach either. However, I do love walking on the beach, getting out in the sun and smelling the salt air.
I just never feel comfortable there. We're planning on going to New York City again.
Oh, that's nice. But isn't it strange? I never feel comfortable in a big city.
2.
Mary, you've been standing here for almost an hour. Who are you waiting for?
Oh, John again. I think he enjoys making me wait.
Well, why don't you come along to dinner with me? Don't you resent waiting like this?
Well, a little, but... Oh, here he comes now. Goodbye, Betty, and thanks.
Hi, Mary. Sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's all right. I just got here a few minutes ago myself.
Well, come along. I've got a great evening planned.
3.
Are you still taking players for your baseball team? My son Tommy is 11 now and enjoys playing. He's pretty good, if I do say so myself.
Yes, I have 12 players, and I can sign up 4 more. Have him come and see me.
When and where?
We begin practicing at 4 o'clock sharp every afternoon. We practice at Henderson Park. What position does Tommy play?
He catches, and you can depend on him giving you a good game every time.
Great. We still need a good catcher. I'll look for him tomorrow.
Thanks, Paul.
4.
Will we see you at the play tonight?
No, we thought of going, but we couldn't get tickets.
Well, you're probably better off. The weather's so bad, we're worried about driving tonight. I must say I'm not too excited about going in this storm.
I know what you mean.
Vocabulary study. Study these definitions and the example sentences before using one of the words to complete each sentence below. Use a dictionary if needed. Repeat, please.
Curb.
Control, stop. Everyone is wondering how to curb inflation.
Fulfill.
Do what is required by certain obligations or conditions. I visited my relatives at Christmas and fulfilled all my family obligations.
Incentive.
A promise of reward to make a person act in a certain way. The newsboys were promised basketballs as an incentive to make them sell more newspapers.
Scatter.
Sprinkle. Send or go in different directions. From the plane, we could see many farmhouses scattered around.
Seek.
Look for. Attempt. Literary. There were hundreds of men seeking employment.
Sustain.
Support. Maintain. A good breakfast will sustain you until dinner time. Complete these sentences.
1. I dropped a box of hard candies and they scattered all over the floor.
2. Most people need incentive to make them work harder.
3. They sustained themselves on berries when they were lost in the woods.
4. A great deal of money is going into efforts which seek to curb pollution.
5. I'm taking my wife to Paris to fulfill a promise I made before we were married.
6. Doctors were giving all the children vaccinations in an attempt to curb the disease, which was spreading throughout the country.
Study the definitions and examples of these verbs. Repeat, please.
Accommodate.
Hold. Have room for. The new hotel will accommodate 1,200 people.
Attract.
Bring or pull to oneself by some quality or action. Large cities attract people from rural areas.
Celebrate.
Do something in order to honor an event. We went on a picnic to celebrate Robert's birthday.
Complicate.
Make hard to understand. Make worse or more difficult. Too many rules complicate the game.
Contribute.
Give money or help. Everyone wants to contribute food and clothing to help the people who have been left homeless by the fire.
Contemplate.
Look at or consider with much thought. The experts contemplated the painting for 15 minutes.
Migrate.
Move to another place in order to live there. All our birds have migrated to Mexico for the winter.
Obligate.
Make someone owe something. Put someone under an obligation. I won't borrow money from you because I don't want to be obligated to you.
Recuperate.
Get better. Recover. The doctor sent him to California to recuperate.
Stimulate.
Rouse to action. Excite. The teacher showed slides of her trip to Mexico to stimulate conversation in class.
Notice the relationship between the sets of verbs and nouns below. Note also the difference in stress in most of the pairs. Verb,
Accommodate.
noun.
Accommodation.
Repeat, please.
Accommodate. Accommodation.
Attract. Attraction.
Celebrate. Celebration.
Complicate. Complication.
Contribute. Contribution.
Contemplate. Contemplation.
Migrate. Migration.
Obligate. Obligation.
Recuperate. Recuperation.
Stimulate. Stimulation.
Fill in the blank with one of the above nouns or verbs. Use a dictionary if you need to.
1. Bill was attracted to Sue because of her personality and intelligence.
2. Mr. Wilson caught a bad cold, and it was 2.5 weeks before his recuperation was complete.
3. We hope to stimulate sales next month by spending more on advertising.
4. I called ahead to the motel for a single room, but they said they couldn't accommodate me.
5. Many of our problems can be solved by spending a few minutes in quiet contemplation.
6. Dr. Ross can't operate yet because there are some new complications in the case.
7. Write for information about our new machine. You are under no obligation to buy it.
8. Helen's birthday is on Friday, but we'll celebrate it on Saturday.
Nine. They sent a contribution of food and money to their church.
10. Every year, a great many people migrate from rural areas to urban centers. In some countries, the migration number's in the hundreds of thousands.
Reading. The Cave of Altamira. Prehistoric men probably did not live in caves until they had fire. With fire, they had a way of keeping wild animals away and also of keeping warm. A great deal is known about early cave dwellers. Archaeologists have discovered bones, ashes from ancient fires, and tools and weapons made of bone and stone. Early men also painted pictures on the walls of caves. A 5-year-old girl was responsible for one of the most exciting discoveries ever made in a cave. In 1879, in Spain, this little girl accompanied her father to the cave of Altamira, where he was searching for prehistoric tools. While she was playing, she looked up and saw colored pictures on the ceiling. She called out, "Toros," which is the Spanish word for bulls. Her father came and saw some beautiful pictures of animals. The paintings were in color, and there were horses, deer, and other animals. The paintings were so well done and so beautiful that it did not seem possible that they were drawn thousands of years ago. When the discovery was announced, no one would believe that these were ancient paintings. Some people laughed. Many years passed, the little girl became a grown woman, and still no one believed that the paintings were old. Then similar paintings were discovered in other caves in France and Spain. Only then did archaeologists finally realize that the paintings in the cave of Altamira were done by prehistoric men.
Questions.
1. Why did the discovery of fire make it possible for prehistoric men to live in caves?
2. How do archaeologists learn about early men who lived in caves?
3. What was the little girl doing in the cave of Altamira?
4. Why do you think she called out the word toros?
5. Why didn't people believe the paintings were made thousands of years ago? 6. What finally made the archaeologists realize that the paintings were ancient?
'End of Lesson 3.